Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Jack Toledano, all or not according to Jack. How you doing? I realize it's been a couple of weeks. Took some time to, just to process and take a little time off, for the holidays and, Christmas, New Year's, etc., Hanukkah. You know the story. Uh, just trying to recuperate from the holidays, and here we are mid January, and I am back. Sorry it took me so long, but I needed a little rest to clear the cobwebs, in the cold weather and whatnot. But I'm back. In that time, though, I was thinking of show ideas, so the wheels were always turning. So, you see behind me a wrestling ring. So that is our first topic of this year. We're going to talk about. Uh, so, what does everybody think of WWE in its first two episodes on Netflix? So, the hot topic is Hulk Hogan getting booed. Oh my God. What happened, folks? Uh, So, on the subject of Hulk Hogan, I'm going to share really quick. I just want everybody to see this so we can talk about it. And there we are. So, on the first episode of WWE Raw on Netflix last week, Hulk Hogan appeared and basically got booed out of the building. So, uh, if you didn't hear the story, Hulk Hogan, it's been said, and I heard this. I did a little viewing and research earlier today, so I heard podcasts from Jim Cornette, Eric Bischoff, Mark Henry, uh, who had probably the most poignant thing to say of all the wrestlers that talked about it. So Hulk Hogan appeared, and he literally came out of what they call the gorilla position to just to the stage, and he got booed mercilessly. Now later on, I will talk about this, but you know what? We know that WWE manipulates the cheers and the boos on the televised broadcast, but it felt like they made no attempt to do so here. So you have to wonder. But anyway, yeah, so he got booed out of the building in LA. Now they're saying that he's scheduled to appear at another event, Saturday night's main event. Now, I attended the first one at Nassau Coliseum back in December with my future son-in-law George, and it was a great event. Now, the second one is set to appear on January 25th in San Antonio, Texas. So you have to wonder, will Hulk be there? I know it's more of a Republican stronghold in Texas, whereas LA and all of California is a Democratic uh, stronghold. So that's that. Yeah. Let's, I'm going to show you this really quick. Um, okay, so that's that. So I'll stop sharing. Yeah, so a couple points I want to make on that. So yeah, so Jim Cornette, who was pretty much anti-Hogan. Eric Bischoff was a little more, how would you say, sympathetic to Hogan. Mark Henry, I thought, basically said it best. he said that, he's not a hater, he's more of a fixer. Whereas he would sit down and talk to Hulk Hogan and see what Hogan could do to, how would you say, redeem himself in the eyes of the public, and in the eyes of people, like Mark Henry, African Americans, to try and, come out and have a sincere apology. But supposedly Mark said he wasn't satisfied that Hogan was willing to do that. So maybe the people in LA know more than all of us do. But one of the points being is that Hulk Hogan came out during the Republican convention and you know, he came out and was endorsed Donald Trump. So we know that that's going to be a hot button issue there. But the Undertaker, Mark Calloway, also came out for Donald Trump. Nobody booed him. However, he didn't come out and he didn't speak. He didn't have a T-shirt with his real American beer that Hulk Hogan was trying to promote. Uh, we'll talk about that in time as well. Instead, The Undertaker simply came out on his motorcycle to endorse Rhea Ripley re-winning the women's championship. And he never spoke. He rode his motorcycle around the ring, came back, and in unison with Rhea Ripley, put his fist up in the air. Uh, I can tell you that Undertaker is not Hulk Hogan. He's not the poster boy, or was not the poster boy of WWE back in the 80s, where, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and blah, blah, blah. And, with all of this crapola, and, in the ring, when somebody's got him in a headlock, Undertaker was, to a lot of people, was a much cooler character. He was the quiet badass, where he wouldn't say too much. He'd just give you that choke slam, that tombstone, and be done with you. And beat the crap out of you. In the beginning, he didn't really have to sell for anybody. He was promoted as being a monster heel, whereas Hogan was promoted as basically being the figure that took wrestling from the little territories, the Bob Backlund Championship type, to being this promotion that they wanted to take worldwide. And you know what? He was able to pull it off. I was never a really big fan of Hogan. I mean, I to this day I still call him Two Move Hogan. With the punches and the kicks and the elbows and the clotheslines and the dropping of the leg, 1, 2, 3. But nothing really outrageous. Whereas Bob Backlund was an actual wrestler. He wasn't as good on the microphone as Hogan, but he was a wrestler. He was a good wrestler. He had a wrestling background. I mean, you got guys like Shawn Michaels and Bret the Hitman Hart. Shawn Michaels was a high flyer. Bret the Hitman Hart, the excellence of execution. Another great wrestler. He learned it all the best at the what they call the Calgary, Alberta dungeon of his father, Stu Hart. But a great wrestler, great champion. Uh, what are you going to do? So let's move along. So, I mean, I think it was in questionable taste for, I guess, WWE made a calculated error having him appear in LA, knowing that, there's a potential powder keg situation. But it wasn't just a lot of people have come out and said that it isn't just about him being conservative and endorsing Donald Trump. There's a lot more to it. Um, I think WWE is sometimes cursed by its own success. So years ago, they broke kayfabe. They had to. Vince McMahon had to come out and say that yes, it's fixed. It's make believe. because all these athletic commissions were going to basically shut him down. So he said, it's basically an exhibition. It's pretend. It's suspended animation. Uh, but once you broke kayfabe and told the truth that it was, all the matches were predetermined and make believe and basically a male sports soap opera, not just male, but female too. Um, what did they start to do and Vince has always been of the opinion he's wanted to take his empire and partially bring it outside the ring. He wanted to do other stuff. He got all these, how would you say, production facilities to, and they produced all these documentaries. You see these documentaries on AMC. Uh, you see them. You saw them for the longest time on Peacock. Now you're going to see them on Netflix. Uh, there was just a documentary series about Vince McMahon himself. Basically what it does is it pulls back the curtain and it talks about wrestling behind the scenes. So with that, you're going to get a lot of stories. Uh, and all these stories over the years did not paint Hulk Hogan in a very positive light. I mean, there was the time that, and now Jesse the Body Ventura is still saying it, that Jesse, he wanted to do the right thing for all the wrestlers. He wanted to unionize. So it, so Vince McMahon found out about it. Uh, he basically fired Jesse Ventura. Years later, it came out that it was actually Hulk Hogan who told Vince about it. So now Hulk Hogan is persona non grata to Jesse. That also paints a very negative picture of him to all the fans. There's all the stories about uh, Hulk Hogan, leaning on his creative control and never putting people over, like to help other wrestlers. Where they say that it's time to pass the torch. It's an unwritten rule in wrestling. When your time is over, like Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 3, he passed the torch to Hulk Hogan. One of the only people that, to my recollection, that Hogan put over was The Undertaker. No, The Ultimate Warrior. But then the Ultimate Warrior's title reign didn't really succeed, so they brought Hogan back. Then they had him pass the torch to The Undertaker, who, by the way, the people didn't boo him because he was much more celebrated and respected in the locker room. Nobody, to my recollection, has ever said a bad word about either Undertaker slash Mark Calloway, whereas so many people have come out and said that Hogan's a liar, he's deceitful, he's this, he's that. All one would have to do is watch. I don't know if anybody has seen Dark Side of the Ring. Uh, they talk about there's an episode where they talk about Bash at the Beach, where supposedly he wouldn't put Jeff Jarrett over, and so what did Jarrett do? He just laid on the canvas and let Hogan pin him with his foot on his chest, and so basically to cause a mockery of the Vince Russo, who was the head booker at the time, I guess he wanted to make a mockery and embarrass Hulk Hogan at this Bash in the Beach, and in doing so, ruined the credibility of WCW and started its downfall. Uh, so even Hogan broke kayfabe and basically said that's why this company's going to shit. So you take all these things and it doesn't put him in a positive light. Uh, Plus, LA is, all of California, but especially Southern California. You got Hollywood right there. It's very democratic and not a good idea to have him there. So the last thing was, and somebody suggested this in one of the YouTube channels, was Hogan set up by WWE to fail? So now they're in a bit of a partnership, and so he advertised his Real American beer, which eventually I know they sell it in Florida. I don't know if they sell it here in New York, but I am supposed to be going to Florida in maybe in another 2, 3 weeks or so. I'll probably buy them down there, try it out on the air here, one of my 2 minute shorts, just to see how it is, if it's worth all the hoopla that they're talking about. My guess is probably not. Probably no better than Budweiser, which incidentally I do not like. I'm more of a microbrew guy. That is when I'm not enjoying one of my Mai Tais. Yes, the Mai Tai. Um, yeah, so lastly, so George, my future son-in-law, as an early Christmas present, took me to see Saturday night's main event at Nassau Coliseum back in mid-December, and what a great event it was. It brought back a lot of memories. I think the prior to that, the last time I had seen an event at Nassau Coliseum was back in the time of Hulk Hogan. There was I don't know if anybody remembers, so Bruce Pritchard used to be known as Brother Love. He had a live segment there, and he had Hulk Hogan on his segment. And yeah, it was very funny. But that, to my recollection, was one of the last times I had seen uh, wrestling at Nassau Coliseum. And I mean, I basically saw it throughout the late 70s into the 80s. Uh, so this time brought back a lot of memories. But my point being, so Drew McIntyre was on the card. So he is now a heel wrestler, a bad guy. He came out first to face what's the heck's his name? Sami Zayn, and he comes out to this very Scottish music with bagpipes. And you know what? He's supposed to be really hated and reviled right now. But funny thing, he got cheered because of the fact that the kayfabe is gone. People appreciate what this guy is doing and why he's so angry and why he's acting like a heel. It's basically because of Roman Reigns. And you know what? I buy into that story because I hate Roman Reigns too, good or bad. Um, but he got cheered. So then when I went to go watch it, so I went to go watch it on Peacock because it was still on Peacock in late December. I went to watch the replay, and what did they do? The production whitewashed it. They whitewashed the cheer, so it made it sound like he came out to no reaction. Why didn't they do that for Hulk Hogan instead of letting him get embarrassed on national TV? Well, I shouldn't say national TV, but Netflix is, it's basically subscribed to millions of Americans across the nation. Uh, why did they just let him be embarrassed like that? I wonder. Is that a plot? So this week I watched. Nothing was said about it. But if you look at the two corners of the wrestling ring, his Real American beer decal was on the mat, which I think is dumb. But then again, I mean, you go to a baseball game, all the outfield walls are adorned with advertisements. I'm getting so sick of that, but it's the world we live in today. And question is, how long are those Real American beer decals going to remain the uh, on the mat? We'll see. As for my opinion, uh, I never really liked Hulk Hogan, but I do appreciate what he's done for the business and how he's made it worldwide. I never forget WrestleMania 3. Susan and I had an apartment at Newport's, and we invited a bunch of people to come over, and we had the pay-per-view for WrestleMania 3. It was such a cool event. Hogan and Andre were in the main event. I mean, those first few WrestleManias with him were fantastic. I mean, what could I say? I mean, see, I did feel sorry for him. I mean, you know what? I wouldn't really wish that on my worst enemy to to be booed by 15, 20,000 people. That that's not a nice thing. And you know what? People can sit there and say, "Yeah, he deserved it." I dare anybody who feels that way to stand out there and be booed and ridiculed by 15,000 people. I mean, I know I would want to go run back into the tunnel and just totally remove myself from the situation. He didn't. He stood there and he took it. He tried to redirect some of that. So for that, I give him credit. So let me know what you think. This is Jack Toledano. All or not, according to Jack. I thank you for watching as always. Speak to you soon. Bye.